Welcome back to the Jason Rantz Show, 1-800-465-8770 for your text messages, including a text message that just constantly said, Democrats, Democrats, Democrats. Senate minority, I almost called him the majority leader. He's no longer the majority leader because the Democrats are in control of the Senate. Mitch McConnell had another one of those moments today that was just terrifying. I mean, it almost like his face, he looks terrified as he is just kind of freezing up. This is the second time. The last time he did it was back in May. It was at a press conference on the Hill. This time he was in Covington, Kentucky, and he was talking with reporters there, and they were asking him some questions. He was struggling to hear the questions, and not due to it being noisy. He's struggling to hear. And he ends up freezing during an answer for more than 30 seconds. It's just startling. And his staff are, at first they don't know what's happening and they try to help, and then they realize, oh, this is happening again.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
And here you can tell something's wrong.
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026?
Now, the reason why the staff member couldn't tell what was really happening, she was to his side. And I don't know if you can tell exactly what's happening at that moment, but obviously looking directly at him as the camera was, so we're able to see it. And I posted this on my Twitter feed. Clearly, something is wrong. He had the look of terror on his face. Did I misread that? Did you see that on his face?
100%.
Right? Just
that.
like terror.
He just wasn't there.
Well, no, I think he was, to me, the face, he may not have been there, but the face to me looked like he couldn't move and he was terrified. It's almost like I saw a ghost and I'm stuck into, like I can't, it was very odd. Still going.
All right, I'm sorry, you all are going to need a minute.
She just realized what was going on. Now another staff member comes up. He's not helpful at all. I don't know what he's even there for. Can someone offer him some water or something? Maybe a seat? Just whispering now off mic.
Okay.
Oh, he's back.
Somebody else have a question? Please speak up.
With respect, what just happened had nothing to do with him not being able to hear. This is another incredibly alarming incident with Mitch McConnell. And I feel like we should all have a bipartisan moment in this country, with all due respect to Mitch McConnell and everyone else I'm about to talk about. Because we all age, right? Every single person ages. We age somewhat differently than one another. But some people get old real fast and their body breaks down and their mind breaks down and everything in between breaks down. I don't know what's going on with Mitch McConnell, but we should have bipartisan support to, number one, wish him well, and number two, ask him to resign. Because there is an age, or at least a condition one might be in, that poses a direct threat to the future of this country. We have too many people who are very, 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 very old in positions of power. It's not just Mitch McConnell, it's Dianne Feinstein, it's Joe Biden. At some point, it's a danger. It's not just mean and almost abusive to the individual to continue to pretend that they're okay in the position that they're in. And I understand that sometimes it's on them, that they're just being stubborn. It kind of sounds like that's the case with Dianne Feinstein based on the reporting. I'm assuming that's the case with Mitch McConnell, that he just refuses to acknowledge what all of us see. Probably the same thing with Joe Biden. But all of us should at least say there is a time where, due to their age or due to something else, they're just clearly not able to serve anymore. That is not a reflection on their career. That is not even a reflection on their politics, right? We're all going to agree more than disagree with Mitch McConnell, of course. He's the Republican minority leader. And most of us will disagree more than agree with Dianne Feinstein or Joe Biden. But I don't want someone who's clearly unable to lead be in a position to help start wars, help tank the economy, pass laws that no one has even read that impact our lives really deeply. And I mention Joe Biden, of course, because the poll that came out, we've been talking about it all week. A ton of people, including 69% of Democrats, say he's too old for a second term. And I'm willing to bet that if they said if he's too old now, they would say yes as well for the current term. He very clearly is. And what bothers me, because you'll see a lot of Democrats in the media call out Mitch McConnell, and I think they'll be nice about it, but they'll say it's time for him to move on, and I think that they're right. But then they'll pretend there's no issues with Joe Biden. They'll pull a George Stephanopoulos. Nikki Haley says, I think it's a vote for him is a vote for Kamala Harris. He's not going to be able to finish his next term. Excuse me, Nikki, why did you say that? I don't understand. You don't understand, really? And then you got Karine Jean-Pierre out there. She was on CNN going so over the top in trying to convince us that Joe Biden is capable. I question now whether or not Joe Biden can get out of bed for more than 12 minutes without breaking down and being a non-functioning politician. Listen to the way she talks about him.
It is hard for us to keep up with this president.
No, it's not. If it is, there's something wrong with you. If you're not able to keep up with this president who needs to go on vacations every weekend, who was absent for almost the entire month of August, if you're unable to keep up with the guy who can't walk up or downstairs without tripping, if you're unable to keep up with the guy who gets confused after a speech on a stage wondering where it is he's supposed to go, if you can't keep up with a guy who cannot finish a thought without getting lost and confused, and everything I just explained, everything I just said happens at pretty much every single speech that Joe Biden gives or press conference, the 3 that he does in a given year. If you're not able to keep up with him, you're the problem. You're even more incompetent than he is. You both should resign. Have your Thelma and Louise moment. Don't kill yourselves, obviously, but, drive off into the sunset, not off a cliff. Stop giving me that look. You know what I meant.
It is hard for us to keep up with this president who is constantly working every day to get things done and making sure that we are delivering for the American people. And that's what, and I think that's what matters. I get it. I get what you're asking me.
Do you?
But the record matters too, Jake.
Like you do. Doesn't sound like you know what he's asking at all. Because he's asking about the polling that shows the vast majority of Americans, the vast majority of Democrats think he's too old. And you don't want to have that conversation.
Right, but I'm talking about his age and his stamina and his ability to do the job. And you're talking about the record. And I understand why you'd rather talk about the record. But I'm talking about what Americans see when they turn on the TV and they see, Joe Biden's been in politics since before, literally since before you were born. And he's aged,
let's talk about
as we all do.
Let's talk about this, and you all talked about this back when we were marking the 1 year anniversary, right, of the war in Ukraine, the unprovoked war by Russia. What did the president do?
Unprovoked.
He went to Kyiv, and he was there with the alarms blaring in the back. And people were so impressed that he was able to be there and look strong and represent
for the 13 seconds we saw him on film
people in Kyiv in a war zone.
Oh, was he in danger?
And
you put him in harm's way?
I'm not saying he's not able to walk.
No, but you're talking about his strength, right? You're talking about how he's looking right now.
He's 80. I think like the average American male only lives to be 77 or something.
But here's the thing, Jay. People saw him and were impressed that he was able to do that he was able to be there and represent the American people.
No! By the way, if people were truly impressed that he was able to stand up and stay still for more than 13 seconds, again, that's not a good sign. I'm not impressed that someone can get up. You know what I don't do is someone just walks by me, I go, oh, wow.
You don't clap?
That's pretty impressive. I didn't know John Curley could walk straight like that, given his age. I've never done that. I've never had that conversation, except just now on the air. And actually, now that I think about it, it is kind of impressive. I mean, but you have to know John to be impressed by that.
Rude. Curly catching a couple strays on the show.
He does it to me on his show all the time.
It's fair.
This is the kind of overcompensation that you provide when you know that's a losing argument you're about to get into and you just have to just go all in. No one falls for it. No one falls for it. And all she should do is just sit back and say, you know what? We think he's capable of the job and we're going to stand by his results. The results speak for themselves. I get your concern, but we think the results speak for themselves. And ultimately, it's going to be up to the American people. Although, given the fact that 69% of Democrats don't think he can actually do it, maybe we should try to do something to steal this next election. But I didn't just say that because they'll throw me in jail. So she shouldn't say the last part. Speaking of which, there's this move in New Hampshire to try to keep Donald Trump off of the ballot. And it's bombing. There's this activist there whose first name is Corky, which should automatically mean we should not take anything he says seriously. Corky? Really?
Not the most serious of first names.
He's trying to say that Trump is disqualified from running, making the 14th Amendment argument. And today we got a statement, or Fox News got a statement from Chris Sununu, the governor of New Hampshire, saying, the governor first heard about this effort over the weekend. The governor is not making any attempt or assisting any effort to keep anyone off the ballot. He's not spoken to and has nothing to do with Mr. Corky Mesner's actions. He added in the statement that, quote, providing he follows the same rules as all other candidates, the governor doesn't expect ballot access will be a problem for the former president. So if you're going to try to keep him off the ballot, you're going to have to get state lawmakers involved. And they're like, yeah, no, go away, Corky. We told you we don't take you seriously. Come back with the name. If it's your name Charles, then just say Charles. Don't give me this Corky business. Ugh. What, your nickname is Rusty? Oh, we're definitely not having anything to do with you. Now, this whole 14th Amendment argument is basically, hey, it says in the Constitution, if you engaged in an insurrection or a rebellion against the government, you can't run for office. Except, of course, he did neither of those things. I know that Associated Press and CNN likes to call it an insurrection, and I know like Democrats love to call it an insurrection. He wasn't even charged with that.